Hello, everybody. Happy Adar. Woo, 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 woo. We have a lot of power inside of ourselves to co-create reality. So the deal is we have a choice. This is true for all of us. I have to tell myself this a lot. In today's environment, we can either be receivers or we can be transmitters. We can choose what we allow to get into our system and stay there. We can't choose our triggers, not directly anyway, but we can definitely choose what we want to entertain, what we allow to stay in our system, what we allow to rule us. And one of the most powerful, most amazing ways out of receiving what you don't want to receive is to transmit what you do want to receive. So what do you want to receive? I'm asking you guys that. Just close your eyes and ask yourself that for a minute right now. What do you want to receive? What do you want to be experiencing in this world? I'll just do the sparkle. Do some sparkle for you. A sparkle today. Okay, what do you want to receive? What do you want to experience in this world? So I'm going to do two things. I'm not going to be on too long today. I have a class to teach for my influencer program a little bit later. But I do want to go over with you something very, very powerful from this is a book of the talks, edited talks of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, edited by the Rebbe himself. In other words, he looked over everything that was transcribed from the talks that he did on Shabbat and during the week, put together by teams of experts, and then given to the Rebbe to edit to anything. So any word, any letter that's in these books is 100% approved. B'kavana, it's intentional. But before we get, and we're going to read straight from the Rebbe, because the words of the tzaddik, the Hasidus, the mystical Torah that comes through the tzaddik, Moses was a tzaddik, right? In each generation, there are great tzaddikim, and there's the greatest tzaddik, the leader of the generation, who transmits the level of Torah that is needed to help not only the souls of Israel, but all of humanity to get to the next step, to do our mission that's appropriate for our generation. Our generation is here to get to the finish line. Our generation is here to do the ultimate last transformations and actually sorting out, that distinguishing between darkness and light, between truth and falsehood, between good and not so good, between part of the divine plan and not. And so we want to follow the instructions that are given to specifically us. These words are specifically for us, for our time, for the times that we're living in, for these souls, for this mission. We're this, in this relay race, we're the ones that are going to get to the finish line, get over the finish line. So we need to know this. And it's not just words, it's a divine transmission. It's when we read these words, we're literally, and I want you to hear them with this stance, that it's a transmission of divine potential. It's an activation of divine energy that your soul is open to, that can spark your soul if you wanted to. So that's what we're going to be reading in just a moment. You know what? I'm going to leave it at that. Let's just stay focused on this. Okay, so again, this is the same portion. This is Sefer Sichos, the book of the Rebbe's talks, edited talks from the year Tafshin and Beis, which is 1992. And this is the last volume of talks that we have to date from the Rebbe edited. The most recent, so it's from the Torah portion called Truma, which is donations, which is the portion that we're actually in now around the world. We read one of the Torah portions each week, go through the whole Bible, the whole Torah, the whole 5 books of Moses that way. So we're in the portion of Truma, and this is never more relevant than it is right this second. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start from the 13th section here, Yud Gimel, and I'll just translate it directly into English because it'll be easier on the ears than me trying to do the Yiddish and then translate. But you can check it out for yourself if you want to. Okay, so from this, we also have an instruction in literal actuality that Mishenichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha, when Adar comes in, this month that we are in, this is Gimel Adar, third day of Adar, 3, very powerful, because 3 is the higher order of unity. It's a superstructure that combines 1, total self-expression of the individual, and 2, not enough space for either, into 3, where there's infinite space for both, and 2 together create a higher order of reality. Isn't that where we need to go? We're divided into 2, but we've got to move into 3. And Simcha, joy, breaks all barriers. It will allow us to restore togetherness without having to squish ourselves or be squished. That is not, or squish others. That's not holy. That's not actual unity. Oh, that's just conformity. Okay, so we have this literal instruction, Mishnifnas Adar Marvin Simcha. When Adar comes in, we must increase in joy, not just, and we can read it two ways, according to the rules of how this is learned. You can read that as an instruction that when the month of Adar comes in, again, we're in day 3, we have to increase in Simcha, but you can enjoy, you can also read it like when Adar comes in, you increase it, whatever Adar has going for it, through joy. What does Adar have going for it? It's Mazal. Its spiritual source is dominant. It comes all the way down to earth. Why? It's the birthday of Moses, the first Redeemer, that collective, universal, central soul to which each of us are connected. We're all part of that soul, and we all have a spark of that soul within our being. Moshe received the Torah and gave it over in descending order, first to a few select, then to the elders, and then, on and on and on, until all the people heard it, and it continues to be taught through Moshe. It reverberates throughout all of humanity, and every day, every generation, every moment, until we completely absorb it on the most internalized level. It is the blueprint for creation, but it is also, when you discover something, when you reveal something from within the blueprint, it's like you're building it in reality. This is the ultimate manifestation tool for a divine world. Anyway, so Adar is about Moshe, it's about the Mazal, about the source of the soul coming all the way down into the physical world, that Mazal is healthy, meaning that everything that the soul came here for, everything God wants, is ready to come down. It's available in the physical world now. We might feel a lot of darkness, but we are so empowered to turn it into light. And also it says that the ayin, the infinite, undifferentiated divine potential, is the Mazal of Adar. It's all the way up to source before creation. That's what we can bring down here. And how do we do it? Simcha, joy. That's what we're going to talk about. And dafka, here's a principle also. When you have to work to make something happen that's holy, it's so much more valuable. You know why? Because you've taken all the obstacles and you've used them to create an even stronger blast of light. If you're just taking a walk, a stroll, and it's nothing, and it's not hard, and okay, that's great to do a positive thing. But when you have to actually transmute the darkness to find deeper light, to blast through with that part of yourself that is not going to just be on receive. No, I'm going to transmit and broadcast what I want to experience, what I want to see in the world. That's a superpower. And when we do it, we bring it out of our soul, and it's ours forever. It doesn't go back into hiding. This is how we bring the soul into the mind, heart, and body, through transforming that darkness into light, bringing the joy no matter what the circumstances are. Okay, let's go back into the text. I'll try not to talk too much. So when Adar comes in, Mishnifnas Adar Marvin B'Simcha, we increase it, everything about it, through joy that comes as an additional extra commandment over the always existing commandment. There's a general commandment that the Torah gives for everybody, for every day of the year. Ivdu es Hashem b'simcha. We're supposed to serve God with joy. Did you know that? We're supposed to serve God with joy. We're supposed to do the work in the world with joy. That's how we do it. You serve God, Lord your God, with joy and goodness of heart. That's what God wants. He doesn't want our cowering and trembling. Yes, if you need a little bit of a wake-up call, get it for yourself. But we're supposed to be here in joy, doing this building project out of love, out of passion. Make it yours. It is yours. Okay, so that's a general commandment for every day. That's how we're supposed to be every day. As the Ramah Paskin's rules in Jewish law and halacha, tov lev mishtatami. The good heart is always celebrating. But being that's always, every day of the year. But given that we are now standing at the opening of the month of Adar, day 3, and in this year, the year when the Rebbe said this in 1992, there were 2 months of Adar. As opposed to the solar year, which has a leap year, you add an extra day. In the lunar year, every 2 or 3 years, there's an extra month. But this year, it's not like that. There's 1 Adar. But when we add the extra month, it's a second Adar. Not by accident. This is the month of the power of transformation, the power of the flip. Na'avohu. Okay, so since that year there were 2 months of Adar, 60 days, and we learned that we know according to Torah that when something begins, like when you start something, you want to open in a powerful way. because there's a special power that when you start something strong, it's going to continue strong, which is why it's so important to do this now. It opens, so when we open up the channel for SIMCHA, SIMCHA meaning joy, SIMCHA, joy and celebration, throughout all of the days of the month of Adar, so we already are drawing down powers, meaning soul powers, meaning divine powers, from the opening and the entering into, and that's the language that's used, Mishenichnas Adar, when we enter Adar, when Adar enters, to increase in all matters of Simcha. That's the power that we have. So from this, every single person can take upon themselves immediate good resolutions, make a decision, good decisions to bring this into actuality. I am going to transmit joy. I don't care what, who, how, I am going to do this. I am a co-creator. So every person has the power to take upon himself or herself these strong decisions, good resolutions, to make every effort in every possible way to add and to increase in everything that gives joy. Beginning in a way that is appropriate, that's permissible on Shabbat, on Shabbos, because this was on the Sabbath, this was said on Shabbat, and especially since the Shabbat is a day anyway when we're supposed to be joyful, and afterwards, actually, Adar started on Shabbat this year too. So that also means Shabbat is the time when all the work is finished. We draw down that power of the vision is complete as we're starting it. Very, very powerful. And we have to do from that, day 1, day 2, and now day 3, we need to progressively increase every single day in light and in joy each and every day throughout the entire month. Every day we have to add even more in matters of joy and celebration. And here's the rule, says the Rebbe, when it comes to joy and celebration, when it comes to Simcha, it has to be panim chadashos. What is panim chadashos? It means new faces. So when you see the same old people all the time, okay, you could love them a lot, but it's really exciting when you see the cousins that you didn't see for so long, or the friend that you have. Every day it's supposed to be something new, even if it's something a little bit new, or you're doing it with another person, or in another, another color, another flavor, but it has to be something new, because that's when the soul's like, yeah, wow, to think that that's part of what creates actual joy. It's not just about doing the same old through the month of Adar, but to add new, to add new, to add new in whatever way. And according to the rule, the cosmic principle that in every matter, everything that involves goodness and holiness, kol hamaktim hareza meshubach, the sooner the better. Whoever does something a moment sooner is praiseworthy. B'chol hamarba hareza meshubach, and anyone who adds, who does more, is praiseworthy. In other words, these are super holy things. This is a super holy thing. The sooner the better, the more the better. That we're transforming the world here. How much more so when it comes to matters of Simcha, which in and of themselves, joy and celebration, within and of themselves, Simcha has the power. Simcha paritz getter. These are cosmic principles. Joy and celebration has the power. Simcha has the power to break through boundaries, to break through laws of nature, to break through barriers between people, to break through clouds of darkness. It has that power. How come? God. It's just the way it is. It's implicit in the Torah. Maybe that's one of the reasons why it's so hard. Like so many of the holiest things are hidden. It's hard to get to. They're secrets, even though there's secrets out in the open, but there's secrets that like, I can't, it's too heavy, it's too hard. But that's why it's a superpower. It's, we're not, this idea of not just receiving and not just reacting, but making a decision, what you're standing for in the world and what you're going to broadcast in the world, when it's aligned with God's vision, you have a superpower. And with every holy superpower, there is a force that tries to keep it from you. It's that's just zel umazeh. That's just asah. That's just the way that God created the world. Force and counterforce. Because again, when we break through that desire to break through that intention, and what we tap into is coming from a very deep part of ourselves, and that deep part of ourselves, when we tap in from there, gets revealed in the everyday. And that's the point. That's what's supposed to be happening here. And our partnership with God gets revealed in the everyday. So Simcha paritz getter, Simcha breaks through, has the power to break through all natural boundaries, even the laws of nature. And by the way, the Rebbe said many times that Simcha paritz kol gidre galus, that it breaks through all the boundaries of the exile. And how much more so when we're marvin with Simcha, when it's not just that we're joyful. Okay, fine, I'll have a happy dance. My husband and I had a happy dance last night. I said, let's dance. We put on Uptown Funk, whatever. That was fun. I don't think I've ever done that before. So yeah, that was new. Now, what else is new? What else is new? So when we increase in joy, so that every day it's more, so that we're helping each other think, what should I do? What can I do to make myself happy, others happy, to be happy with other people? What can I do to broadcast more of this? That is increasing marbin b'simcha. That is fulfilling the commandment that when Adar comes in, we need to increase in simcha throughout the month of Adar, and how much more so in a way that every single day we come to even more simcha compared to the days that came before. So in literal terms, every one of us must increase in all aspects of simcha, all matters of simcha, both concerning ourselves, making ourselves happy, and concerning making other people happy. As is known that the epitome of the whole idea of joy and celebration is when we're doing it with others together. Last night we had a happy hour. I'm going to hope to do one of those every week through Adar, so maybe another 2 or 3. First and foremost, to add in Pikudesh Misharim Mesamchei Lev, to add in learning Torah, as we're doing now, because the words of God are straight. They're straight light, and they can bring joy to the heart when you can see beyond the walls of what's happening in the world and actually experience divine truth. So learning Torah, the revealed part of Torah, and especially the mystical Torah, the inner Torah, as we're doing now. And Talmud Gadol Shemevili de Maisa, the greatness of learning is when it changes the way that you think and especially the way you act. So fulfilling mitzvahs in a beautiful way. So to actually take action that makes the world a better place, a more divine place, in accordance with the Torah, with the divine instructions. So that's the first thing. And furthermore, and this is the main thing, that through increasing in simcha and Torah and mitzvahs, we will also bring out a joy literally in the physical level, also through physical things. So I think the idea here is that we don't just go and stick our face in a bucket of ice cream, although I don't know that that's a bad thing to do depending on the effect that it has on you. But the idea is that we're doing it not like piggies, we're doing it like godly creatures. It doesn't mean that you won't do the same thing. It doesn't mean that you can't have the incredible physical enjoyment. You can. But we want to know that this is holy. We're doing this as an effort, as a mitzvah, as a fulfillment of a commandment to bust through the darkness and to radiate joy and light. So we have to be connected with the spiritual. We can't only do physical things. Then we're hedonists, right? Then we're ego-based. If it's only, I'll just do whatever it takes to make myself happy, it doesn't matter. No, it's got to be connected happiness to really have that power, that effect. So through the fact that we are increasing in the joy in Torah and mitzvahs, we will also bring out more simcha in actuality and physicality, also through physical things, as we said above, that the accomplishment of Adar is that the world, within the physical world, we have a state of bari mazle. What is bari mazle? Bari comes from the Aramaic word that means healthy. Mazle it's Mazal. So the Mazal of Adar is healthy, meaning the physical world. Things will change for the good in the physical world. Things will change to line up with God's plan in the physical world when we do this. Every time we do this, every moment we do this, we're actually changing reality in the physical. That's the nature of Adar, and we tap into it through this formula. And also, this is relevant to making other people happy, beginning with your own family, your own household. So if you're a man and you're married, so the husband should increase in making his wife happy, the parents should increase in making their children happy, and not only making them happy by telling them smile, but making them happy with things that, according to their nature, make them happy, like a new toy, like a piece of candy, or whatever, like staying up an hour late, whatever it might be. Going out to the park, going out to the zoo, it doesn't matter. But the idea is that this is not only in the air. This is things that, according to our nature, make us happy. It's just that we want it to be connected. We want it to be connected to the intention. And this is what the Code of Jewish Law explains. So especially when a father, he's saying, in case there are any fathers here or mothers that have fathers around, so when a father does something to make his children happy, he breaks his nature, saying that it makes the children even more happy. This isn't always the father. It could be anybody who's not necessarily so giggly, but sometimes the father's more giggly. But here he's saying that when the father, who sometimes might be a little bit more disciplinarian in order to create the positive values in the child, when he lets loose, and he does something more to make his children happy, it's even more joyful to them. Because, happiness also comes from the unexpected, like when someone breaks their nature. I know this is true with my kids. When they see me not acting the way I normally do, they get so delighted, depending on what it is. Okay, so and also to increase in simcha for other people around you, as we said above, that through this you become a ben olam haba and a ben olam hazeh, meaning you make a difference in the future destiny of all of us, and you also change the world now. So it should be God's will that through the additional abundance in simcha, we should already break through all possible boundaries, beginning with the last boundaries that still remain in gullus, in this exile, and transform it, flip it over to goodness and holiness, and mainly to break through all of the boundaries of the last moment of exile, because that's where we are. That should already be the first moment of Geula, so that it just seamlessly moves into that path. And we have to know that everything that we have built and are building has come through our own actions and our own service, whether in this life or the last. I'm adding that, the Rebbe didn't say that. And especially when it's done through simcha, he just said it's through our actions and our service. Especially when it's done through simcha, through joy. Much more powerful. God doesn't want us to suffer. The pressure is to bring out more. Not that I'm asking or giving my stamp of approval for more pressure. There's more than enough. More than enough. But now let's let the joy flow. Let's not be stuck to the pressure. Let's not be stuck to the depression. And especially through the service of the righteous women, the Nashim Tikanias B'Yisrael, in whose merit the Geula will come, like happened in the redemption from Egypt. Okay, doesn't mean men can't do it, but it's especially up to the women. So here I'm going to say one more thing. I was going to save it for the next slide, but I want to say it here. First let me say this: that on Facebook, some of you are on there sharing things. It's awesome. I'd like a lot more people to be on there sharing things, because we can share ideas of what makes you happy, what you suggest for others, what you might have done to make somebody else happy, what the result was. You can share a video, you can share a song, you can get on there and broadcast live if you want to, and people can watch you if they want to. Specifically in terms of the Adar project, those are the posts that we're gonna approve in terms of the Adar project, because when we get together, our efforts are amplified so many times over. And when we get together, like I want to keep saying, it's not like we have to make this happen. None of us has the power to transform everything in the world on our own, but we are just partnering with God, and we're using the energies that he puts in the world and the instructions that are given to us through the tzaddik, through the Rebbe in this case. And when we become aligned with that, and we become channels for that, and we become broadcasters of that and cell receptors for that, our power is amplified. Our co-creative power is amplified time times time times time times time. I don't even know, 100x, 1,000x, 1,000,000x. And each day we have the opportunity to exponentially raise that even more. So that's something that's up to us. That's something that's up to us. And so I want to suggest that you get on the Facebook, you get there. I think it's still, is it here? Okay, no, the PDF is scrolling by. The Facebook page isn't. Maybe you're watching it on the Facebook page. It's the Gate of Unity : Soul Infused Influencers, but the link is also in the PDF, as is an explanation of how all this works in much more detail. Things that explaining the inner energies of Adar that we're bringing down through our actions and our intention. So that can really help. My purpose here is not only to get people to watch a video. Oh, by the way, and please, I do want to get you to share the video, to like the video, to comment on the video so that we can spread it. Those are already actions that you can do to spread it to other people. These are the holy, immortal, timeless channels of transmission from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So this is especially important to share, but just to wake up people to the idea that this is happening and that they can take part. So that's very powerful. So please share, like, comment. I hardly ever remember to say that, but it really, really helps. It really helps also. More people will see it, not just the people you share with, but it raises the algorithm so more people that are my friends and my followers will see it. But besides that, the idea is to do things every day as we just learned, to make yourself happy, to make other people happy, and to be happy together with others, but also to activate other people. Suggest to people that they might do something extra every day throughout the month to make themselves happy, to do something to make other people happy, to do something to make their family happy, to do something to make their coworkers happy, to broadcast a video to make the people that are connected to them on social media, or whatever it might be. Whatever it might be. Okay, my friend Esther posted on, she's a principal, a preschool principal in the US. She posted on our Facebook group here a special chart that she did for the Adar project for her teachers, that there are all kinds of suggestions of what they can do. Compliment a student, compliment a teacher, do this, do that. And with each thing that they do, they get a ticket, and there's going to be a drawing for a gift card. What simple, amazing ways to change the atmosphere somewhere. And it's contagious. I saw a movie when I was a kid in school, in grade school. It was called The Smile. And it was like side-by-side scenario. So they showed us something that happened. A man walked out of his house in the morning. Something happened to him. And he followed a timeline. I'll explain it in a second. And then I'll explain what that was. And then they showed it a second way that the same thing happened to him, but he responded differently. So the first thing, and the whole thing ended different. So the first scenario that they showed us, he got in his car and someone cut him off. He was late to work. Someone cut him off, and he honked, and he got really angry, and he yelled at the person, and that person got in a bad mood. And I don't remember exactly, it was quite a few years ago, but the chain of events led to either the first or the second person dying in a car accident. Okay, just because that negative energy, you know, when you're angry, when you're fearful, just so easy to be right now, but we're not. When you're angry and you're fearful, what happens, your ability to make a decision, to be clear and present, goes right out the window. Presence is when we are calm and joyful and connected. When you're present, your immune system ramps up and your body knows how to take care of itself. Your awareness ramps up and your subconscious is on the alert. It's not distracted by what's churning in your brain. It's taking in information in an objective, healthy way. And you can make intuitive and logical decisions really easily, and they're going to most likely be right on target. So getting rid of fear and anger is super important. Anyway, that's what happened in scenario 1. In scenario 2, he got out, he got in the car, he was in a big hurry, someone cut him off. I think there was a fender bender actually, and then the first one he got out and he was furious and screaming at the guy. The second one he got out and he said, you know what, it's okay, everybody has accidents, don't worry, take your time. And he came home, you know, after a full day of work and gave his wife roses, and everybody was happy and nobody died. So I wish I remembered more details, but it obviously made an impression on me as a kid, called The Smile. Even something as simple as a smile when you don't feel like it. I'll keep repeating this, but research tells us that when we smile, even if we don't mean it, look in the mirror, even if we don't mean it, it changes our physiology. That's why laughter yoga is so powerful, because I hope to have someone on doing that, 1 or 2 people over the course of the month. Because when you start laughing, when you hear laughter, after a little while, it starts to catch. Like if you pretend to laugh with a bunch of people, eventually it becomes real. How come? Because the track that you launch yourself on will take you in a certain direction. And the track of fear and darkness and anger will take us toward more fear and darkness and anger. God forbid. The track of joy and celebration, unreasonable joy and celebration. It's no big deal again to be joyous and celebratory when you just won the lottery, or when you're in a wonderful party, you know, with all the people who love you coming and telling you how great you are and life is rosy. That hopefully we'll all have that experience all the time. But the real transformational power comes when you say, I don't care. Okay, I do care. I care a lot, but you know what? I don't care that I care. Autobiographical. I don't care that I care. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing it. You know why? Because I am a soul in a body. I'm a divine soul in a body. And I live in the era of redemption. And in the era of redemption, sometimes things, so many prophecies, so many sages, have told us it's going to be full of confusion, it's going to be full of chaos, it's going to be full of darkness. We missed so many of the negative prophecies already. The principle of prophecy is no negative prophecy has to come true physically ever, but it does need to have its effect. So the effect of our times is we need to wake up and see God's hand, but we get to choose. Like the Rebbe says, the Rebbe is pumping out, choose your relationship with God. You don't have to have a bad, you can have a wonderful relationship. God wants you. He prefers, he's longing for you to let go, forgive the past. It's been rough. Choose to be joyful with me and you'll see what happens in your world. You'll see what happens in your life. Choose it from nothing. God creates something from nothing. Yesh mi'ayin. We humans tend to create something from something, which means that whatever happened before, we're stuck with it. Somebody frowned at us and we're in a bad mood. We've got to stay in the bad mood. Where we're not in the best relationship with somebody and we feel uncomfortable, we have to be uncomfortable. No, we have the power, the governments, people who don't agree with us, whatever it might be, whatever your flavor is, they're forcing things upon us. Things are happening that shouldn't be happening. The corona, the world, the this, or that. So we have to be in a state of fear. No, we don't. No, we don't. We're going to get triggered sometimes, but we are divine beings and we get to choose. We get to choose. We get to say, no, God, help me. I don't want to be in a state of fear and I'm going to turn on some music and dance. I'm going to call someone up and I'm going to smile and I'm going to ask them how their day was. And I'm going to tell them what an amazing thing they did and how wonderful they made me feel or how proud I am of them. And I'm going to ask them what I can do to help. I'm getting cleaning help for a couple of my kids who have little kids. That's one of the things that I'm doing for my children for Adar, the ones who want that. But it doesn't take much. It's just a switch. It's a switch from victim to co-creator. Doesn't mean that you're not going to feel like a victim. Everything here is collaborating to make us feel like victims. That's why it's so powerful. Again, it's not just you. You don't have to turn the whole world around. You don't have the power to change everything except for the fact that you do, because you're just making a channel. You're just allowing what God wants to do to take place in your heart, or even if not in your heart yet, in the choice that you make when you turn off this video. Who are you going to make happy? What are you going to do? And who else are you going to inspire to do the same? Okay, with that, I'll see you tomorrow around 10 a.m. Eastern. That's the time I'm going to aim for when I'm on by myself. When I have guests, I have to finagle a little bit. Okay, guys, I really want you to come on Facebook. I really want to hear. I want to see underneath the video. I want to see comments. I want to see what you're going to do. I don't just want to say, I love seeing Shalom Shipra, but that's not what I want to see here. I want to see, I am committed to, I am on my way to, I am, and on the Facebook as well. Okay? I'm going to inspire others to. I'll say this one more thing also. The Rambam, Maimonides, one of the most revered and holy sages in the entire Torah tradition, like Maimonides, how many hospitals are named after him as a doctor in Egypt, but he was much more than that. He was a codifier of the Torah. One of the holiest, greatest souls that ever was in a body in the world. He's buried not that far away, down there. You can see down there at my door. Tiberia. Sorry. So he says, please excuse me. He says that every person must look at the world as if it's completely balanced. I have a hard time doing this with the video because it's backwards. Anyway, as completely balanced, between good and evil. And that his one action, his one word, or even his one thought can tip the scales for the entire world to salvation, to goodness forevermore. Similarly, the Rebbe said, when he told us to do everything we can to bring Mashiach and Geula now, something went down the wrong way. He said, may it be God's will that there will be among you 10 stubborn people, from the stiff-necked people, that's what God likes to call the Jewish people in the Torah, 10 stubborn people who will not stop until they convince God to bring Mashiach, and they will not stop trying to get the people around them to cry out and demand the Geula. And may it be God's will that there will be found among you one or two or three who know what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. You guys, it doesn't take much, but it takes the right something or the right combination of something. And in this case, the reward is commensurate with the effort. So when the dark cloud is attempting to descend upon your head and you say, not now, let's dance, and you're doing it because you're connected to God's plan, that has a quantum effect, literally a quantum effect. When you get other people to do it as well, and they understand, even one or two, that multiplies the quantum effect exponentially. So that's what I want to push to you. I can't make anybody respond, but I am pushing it because that's my stance, that's my choice, and I hope that you will respond by liking the video, sharing the video, commenting, let me know what you're going to do, go and join the Facebook, and most of all, do something additional every day throughout Adar to make yourself joyful, and something additional to make other people joyful. The more the better. Remember we read, Kol HaMakdim, everybody who does it sooner, a moment sooner, Hareza Mishubach. That is praiseworthy. That's worthy of praise. The whole world will thank you for that. Kol HaMarbe, everyone who increases, Hareza Mishubach. That the world will praise you. You're praiseworthy. God considers you praiseworthy. So, Kol HaMakdim, Hareza Mishubach, Kol HaMarbe, Hareza Mishubach. The sooner the better, the more the better, and to inspire other people to do the same. If everybody inspired one person times, we have another 26, 27 days of the month. If every day everyone inspired one more person to do this, that would already have a quantum exponential effect. Okay, sharing the video might inspire more than one. Take care, everybody. See you tomorrow. Same time, same station.